Hello everyone. I wanted to talk about how Calvin and Hobbes ended up in my doctoral dissertation. It's kind of an ending that's a bit anticlimactic because the writing got a little bit geeked out and academic. But what I wanted to do originally, because I'm a fan of Calvin and Hobbes, was to include parts of his final strip in my dissertation, or at least some of the text. Most principally, let's go exploring. And I really like the way he ended his series. I like the way he drew it, the notion behind it, and even the backstory, which I won't go into. That's not what this is all about. But as it turns out, I've dealt with Calvin and Hobbes in a couple different stages. One is when it first came out, and the other is when I had young kids. So kind of like Calvin and Hobbes. And it was kind of neat to have have that kind of just completely fade out of my arena of interest, and then come back again when I had young kids, and we'd sit around the breakfast table and we'd all read these, and I have a lot of them, and they've been beat up. I've written little things to my kids in them, and just all kinds of good memories connected with Calvin and Hobbes. And I've got this series. I remember when these first came out, I thought, who in the world would spend that much money on a comic series? And I did when I was older. And I even have here, this is not illegal. This is actually cut out from the box that contains the complete series. I cut it out. I've got two of these. I've got them framed. And I think they came out nicely. And they're, I guess, semi-licensed. Well, they are legal. They're semi-licensed even. So anyway, I wanted to capture that part of Calvin and Hobbes about let's continue to explore, because Bill Watterson's looking at next chapters, and that's something we all think about. I live life in chapters. I get bored with the last chapter and move on to the next and to the next and to the next. So I will show you how it ended up. I literally put let's keep exploring in my conclusion. I wanted to keep it. So this is my dissertation, Boat Design Driving from Ethnographic Studies, a transdisciplinary approach to Malaysian fishing boat design. And I spent almost 5 months in Malaysia doing the field work for this, and I want to include it in here. How it ends up, like I said, is a little bit anticlimactic, and I'll read that later. So I'm not trying to, maybe I should read it now, so that way if you want to stop watching this, you can. Let me do that in all fairness. And then I was just going to share a little bit about some experiences with Calvin and Hobbes. So the way, I wanted to put in my conclusion, the notion, with all this writing, kind of at the end, to talk about, the notion that you should keep exploring new chapters, as I mentioned. But here's how it ended up. So I'm a little embarrassed. I didn't realize I had modified it this much. In my memory, it was a bit kinder. So this was in 2011. And this is how it ended up. So it literally was, let's keep exploring, and it ended up this way. So I'm going to read it and then talk about other things. Okay. Therefore, I am left with a lack of personal ownership of the design. However, and what I did is I designed a fishing boat, which I'll show you a picture of. A Malaysian fishing boat using ethnographic techniques. I'll show a picture of that just for kicks. All right, several of them. But anyway, therefore, I am left with a lack of personal ownership of the design. However, I have arrived at the goal of developing a favorably received design for a traditional Malaysian fishing boat based largely on ethnographic study and analysis. Moreover, my personal goal of exploring whether a designer can employ tools of social science to improve the effectiveness of design and enrich professional practice was satisfactorily accomplished. Pretty boring, huh? Well, that's what I wrote. Literally, I really wanted to keep that line and that thought in there, and it got sort of turned into weird. It's not, I guess it's academic writing of the sort, but these were some concluding notions, so I'd sort of free form. That's how it ended up in my dissertation. All right, but it really was at heart, the notion of getting that line in there is sort of in there. I modified it, and I guess that's the nature of this style of writing, where nothing's simple. So anyway, that's how Calvin and Hobbes ended up in my doctoral dissertation. And anyway, but we enjoyed it over there too in Malaysia, and they had it in the newspaper, which is interesting. And so just real quick, I'll show a couple things. And to talk about favorites is sort of tough, and I guess most interestingly is I enjoy sharing it with my kids, but I enjoyed it it's witty. It's witty. It's not crass. It's not stupid. It's not trivial. I mean, some of them are not as well done, but they're thoughtful and they're clever and witty. And I really miss that in the world of humor. So this is one of my favorites. This isn't really any order. This is just a series. Now I'll talk about Comic-Con a little bit maybe. But okay, this was the camping series. I really like that because I like outdoor stuff and I camp and the notion of having a camping trip ruined and trying to, I'll say, lead people through sort of the bad environment, I think is really good. The drawing is very nice. I've had those kinds of experiences. Maybe you have too, when the world seems gray. So that's one. And let's see if I can find this here. The one I have, let's see. I have some of these on my door in my office. Okay, this one here, yeah. I actually have a cutout from the newspaper of this one. Okay, I just like that because the smartest secular move I've done in my life is to get rid of TV. Got rid of TV. And that was a long time ago when TV sort of obsessed people. And now the way that turns out is I don't do Amazon Prime and I don't do a lot of that stuff. I have filters on the internet and I really try to put walls up around myself to keep things from getting into my house that I don't want into my house. So he says in here, I'll bet I'm missing some great TV shows, as he's watching the sunset with his wonderful friend, Hobbes. Okay, so I like that drawing. That always struck me right away. And, let's see. I have one marked here. No, that's the same one. Oh, I know. Over here, in one of the big books, unusual color scheme, but as far as like favorite drawings, and then I always liked, this is one that I really like. It's watercolor. Does it show up right? Okay. Off to adventure, big plans, little information. Story of my life. Have a big goal, not enough information to actually maybe think about it practically. And the internet sort of ruined that sort of stuff because now you can find all this information. But really like that watercolor, and I have that. I have that on my Facebook page for a long time. This is I have this on the wall at my office. One of them. I like that. Just the whimsy of walking on a log. I think that's really sweet, and I like that. So again, just briefly, I've done one Comic-Con seminar. I enjoyed it. Talked about how to make props, that kind of thing, and we ended up not doing them anymore where I work. And I was thinking the next year, though, doing a Calvin and Hobbes one, but that never came to fruition with the transmogrifier and just kind of have sort of the round table about Calvin and Hobbes, because there are a lot of people that enjoy it. And I was thinking, what props do you use for Calvin and Hobbes to make it sort of real? And you're kind of hard-pressed because it's all about imagination, and which is a beautiful thing. And that's what I was thinking, these cardboard box props. But it reminds me of my childhood in that sense, where cardboard box was a playground of its own. And when you were left with imagination in a rainy day. So what I like about Calvin Hobbes in the end was the drawing and the emotive response that the drawing inspires, but also the rich tapestry of the imagination and the fearlessness of talking about imaginary friends, imaginary goals, imaginary environments, all these sorts of things. I personally wasn't a big fan of the spaceman spiff stuff, but a lot of people are. The whole snowman thing is, more like Far Side-ish. But one thing that's good too is it's held up to the test of time, which not many things do. So I still enjoy going back to these comics. I have fun with them. And again, a little bit of the odd thing about the dissertation, because I cannot believe after all these years how much I took that sentence I was going to bury in there, and I turned it into something I guess was true and reflective, but not really as close to Calvin and Hobbes as I wanted it to be. So anyway, that's my story about Calvin and Hobbes in my doctoral dissertation. Thank you.